DocTalk is brought to you by Merck Animal Health. By integrating the comprehensive animal health product portfolio of Merck Animal Health with the innovative technologies of All-Flex Livestock Intelligence, we are shaping the future of animal health, resulting in more effective solutions and healthier animals.
Hey folks, welcome to DocTalk. I'm Dr. Dan Thomson. Today is going to be a great show. Our guest, Dr. Jason Nickell. He is the Director of Insights and Outcomes. He's a veterinarian for Merck Animal Health. We're going to talk about SenseHub, a new technology that improves cattle health in the feed yard and helps our people get along in their day just a little bit better. Thanks for watching, and we'll be right back.
At Merck Animal Health, we wake up each day seeking new innovations to keep your herd healthy. This is why we're proud to now include All-Flex Livestock Intelligence in our portfolio of solutions. With All-Flex, we can provide the tools to identify, monitor, and trace each animal within a herd. Its state-of-the-art offerings deliver real-time insights to help you optimize productivity. Merck Animal Health and All-Flex Livestock Intelligence for our animals, our industry, and our future.
Hey folks, welcome to DocTalk. We have a friend of mine and colleague, a great veterinarian, Dr. Jason Nickell, who is here. And Dr. Nickell is the Director of Insights and Outcomes for Merck Animal Health. He's a veterinarian, has a PhD in veterinary diagnostic medicine and pathobiology from Kansas State, DVM from Mizzou.
Yes, sir.
And we've worked together a lot, and it's great to have you on the show.
Well, thank you, Dan. Appreciate to be here. Appreciate the time, and always enjoy visiting with you.
Yep, it's great. And so, as we talk about the new product that Merck has coming out called SenseHub, and I've worked with it since the inception, before the acquisition. But this is some there's some reason why we need some help, isn't there, out there in finding sick cattle?
Yeah. This is, finding sick cattle, not just finding sick cattle, but then, as we'll talk here in a minute, getting people that are trained to find sick cattle. That there's really two different issues there, and maybe we start with the ability to find sick cattle. At the end of the day, cattle are a prey species, as we understand it, and despite the fact that they're domesticated, they view people still in a predatory form. Mm-hmm. And so the last thing that they want to do is to convey to a human that they are sick. And so one of their defense mechanisms, frankly, is to conceal disease. And they, at the end of the day, they're much better at concealing it than we are finding it. So even to the trained eye, they are able to conceal that very well. So by the time that they actually convey illness to a human, if they ever do, they have been sick for several days. Yeah. And so what we know from the literature is that our inability to get in front of that, if they don't die, if they don't succumb to the disease, the fact that they've been sick is that our therapies, although as potent as they are, if we don't get in front of that, and again, if they don't die, leads to lung pathology, yeah, which in turn, there's a performance cost to that. And so we have consistently looked for ways to get out in front of that in a more accurate and timely fashion.
Yeah, and we've seen on the research side, earlier intervention, better case outcome, and it's part of the reason why we've, used metaphylaxis is because we can't see the sickness, and we understand that if we have a tool like this that we can treat them sooner, the performance, the difference, 18, 20 pounds at the end of the feeding period, that's or on the outweight, slaughter weight, that's a big deal.
Yeah, just being able to get around the animal's ability to conceal disease, provides value, keeping more animals in the system for the duration, whether by reducing mortality or just reducing removals, lends itself to value there. So yeah, very exciting technology to get.
It's kind of like an interview. Everybody can clean up and act good for 30 minutes.
Yep.
But if you got 24-hour surveillance,
Yes.
like what you're talking about, now we get to look at those animals throughout the course of a day or a week or that, and it's just a much more holistic viewpoint of that animal's health and activity.
Absolutely. I mean, it opens up so many windows of information that we never had before, frankly.
It's great. Well, folks, we're going to take a break. We're here with Dr. Jason Nickell. He's with Merck Animal Health, Director of Insights and Outcomes. Thanks for watching DocTalk, and we'll be right back.
Success in the cattle business hinges on a lot of different people playing their part. From the vet to the cowboy and the nutritionist to the feed truck driver, you rely on them to get their job done right, and so do your cattle. Your expectations for the vaccines you use should be no different. Bimeda's cattle vaccines were developed and are made and sold by men and women in the cattle business. No smoke and mirrors, just real-world protection that you can rely on. Go to BimedaBiologicals.com to learn more.
We see you, working hard from the early mornings to the late nights and every hour in between. We see you. We see the pursuit, the desire, the effort, the hope, the goal of being a champion. And we see that you need a partner to keep your animals healthy and happy. With our countless products and quick and reliable shipping, together, we can do just that. To the cowboys and cowgirls, to the dreamers, we see you.
Nasalgen 3 is a new 3-way intranasal BRD vaccine that offers young calves unrivaled protection against devastating respiratory diseases, including IBR, BRSV, and PI3. And it has a unique blue shadow, so there's no second guessing which animals have been vaccinated. To up your protection, choose new Nasalgen 3 PMH, the first and only 5-way intranasal vaccine on the market. Talk to your veterinarian and visit nasalgen.com to learn more.
ValleyVet.com is your one-stop shop for your every animal need, from prescription meds, vaccines, equipment, and more for the ranch to the show ring. Shop ValleyVet.com for fast shipping and great prices.
Valley Vet Supply.
Hey folks, welcome back to DocTalk. I'm Dr. Dan Thomson, and I am here with Dr. Jason Nickell, who's a veterinarian. He is one of those people that when you look to beef cattle health and feedlot health, all of us call Jason for assistance. And so he's the Director of Insights and Outcomes for Merck Animal Health, and that's a big, big job because there's a lot of things going on at Merck. But we're going to talk about SenseHub today, and I'm pretty excited about it. So tell me a little bit about it and what all it does.
Well, Dan, the technology, like we spoke before, was solely developed to get around that animal's ability to conceal disease. And so because we can't have people out there 24/7, and because we have even if we could, we don't have enough people to do that, but also because those animals are unwilling to convey disease, especially early on, we need other factors in terms of being able to capture that. So what the technology is it's a wearable technology in the form of an ear tag. It captures animal activity and body temperature simultaneously. All that is captured. We use artificial intelligence then to tell us when there are differences in either one of those parameters for that animal, but also the animal has to be different than the group. And so ultimately, at the end of the day, we're looking for outliers. And so by doing so, what the data up till now will tell us is that we can find those animals roughly 3 to 4 days earlier than a pen writer can. We can find them much more accurately than a pen writer can. And what those attributes lend itself down the road is a reduction in mortality, reduction in removals due to chronic BRD, namely, and just basically more animals that make it all the way to closeout. We can find, we're finding some interesting things with regard to performance as well, but really we're just, right now what we're seeing is being able to keep more animals in the system rather than falling out for whatever reason due to BRD.
Okay, so the ear tag does the temp and the activity and it finds an outlier.
Yes.
What happens from there?
Yeah. So logistically speaking, from a practical standpoint, the producer and or the veterinarian or the consultant would receive a report in their email inbox every morning that lists the animals and their identification number of the animals that were flagged by the system. It's also tied to whatever PIN number. So if there's a PIN that they're allocated to, that information will be there as well. The animals that show up in the report, those respective animals, then the light on that tag is illuminated and flashes for a period of time that allows those caretakers to not only have a list of animals that have been detected by the system, but now that light allows them to find them a little easier.
It's huge, folks, because we've had tags that'll identify an outlier, at least at the feed bunk. But now I get something on my phone, I can ride my horse or my four-wheeler or walk over there, and there sits a blinking tag. And that's the one we take to the hospital.
That's the one you take to the hospital and, look up, in certain terms of what's going on there, but it's all meant to just make things much more actionable and easier and time efficient.
It's great. We got to go to break, but the hardware that goes with this is pretty small.
It is, and animals are hard on things. It's a hard environment. Aside from the tags that are on those animals, the only other piece of hardware that's out there is an antenna that covers roughly a 2-mile area.
Folks, exciting technology, especially if you're in the feedlot, animal health business. We'll come back with Dr. Nickell from Merck right after these messages.
I'm Dr. Les Anderson. I'm a beef extension specialist at the University of Kentucky. The Alert Is On Farm test has the opportunity to completely change the industry. A producer is enabled and empowered to be able to take the sample and run the test or tests at their leisure without scheduling anybody. And honestly, reproduction is the thing that we measure the least, and it's the thing that dictates profitability the most. The Alert Is On Farm test will help us to identify cows that get pregnant early. It'll improve our efficiency tenfold.
Dr. Nels here, folks. We're super excited about this book on hiring. Have you made a bad hire? Have you hired someone you wish you wouldn't have? Are you looking to hire? It's a great short read on helping you in the hiring process. You can find it on Amazon, Kindle, Audible, or find it at drnels.com. Check it out there. We'd love to see you there.
They're here, they're hungry, and they can't be stopped with ivermectin. Choose Safeguard when you deworm your cattle to take out resistant parasites like brown stomach worm, Cuperia, Nematodyrus, and others. With Safeguard's efficacy, you can kill more resistant worms in your cattle, so you don't leave potential on the table. Consult your veterinarian for the diagnosis and treatment of parasitism. Then bite back at safeguardworks.com.
ValleyVet.com is your one-stop shop for your every animal need, from prescription meds, vaccines, equipment, and more for the ranch to the show ring. Shop ValleyVet.com for fast shipping and great prices.
Valley Vet Supply.
Hey folks, welcome back to DocTalk. Dr. Dan Thomson here with Dr. Jason Nickell. He's the Director of Insights and Outcomes for Merck Animal Health, which is a huge job. And the technology that's coming down the road from Merck and from other companies is just going to be fantastic for agriculture. And I keep telling people it's not going to take you out of a job, because just because we have a baby monitor doesn't mean we don't need a mother. And this is a 24/7 baby monitor on our steers. And when we start to think about summertime, even if they're outdoors and they're crowding, but with people that are feeding cattle indoors in some of these tighter stocking densities, this is just a tremendous opportunity to help us find cattle that are limpy, gimpy, and sick. before they would tell us otherwise. And so you guys have done quite a bit of research.
Yep.
Can you kind of give us some, pull the curtain back and tell us a little bit about what you've been finding with research and SenseHub?
Absolutely, yeah, Dan, not a problem. So up till now, we have focused, the majority of our research on BRD. What we have experienced there is that taking the technology and comparing it head to head with a pen writer, what we find is that we can find those animals roughly 3 to 4 days earlier in the disease phase. We are finding animals more accurately. So we are finding a large percentage of the animals that the technology pulls, the pen writer would have not identified those animals at all. And that's usually one of the first pieces of feedback that we get is a phone call that said, hey, there is nothing wrong with these animals. These would not be animals that we would have pulled ourselves, right? And so the way that we have gotten around that is simply by asking them to bring them to the chute, let's put a rectal thermometer in them, and let's see. And 99 times out of 100, those animals have an elevated rectal temperature. They are just, again, that deceptive of concealing disease. Now, the data that has led to is that overall we see no differences in morbidity. So our overall antibiotic administration has not changed. But what that's translated into is a reduction in mortality, a reduction in removals, an overall reduction in fallouts, and then also an improvement in the efficiency of labor.
Well, when I start to look at the pillars of economics for feeding cattle, I've never had anybody say we're using too many antibiotics. I mean, as far as economically speaking, right? Yep. But what we pay for them when we buy them, what we get paid for when we sell them, cost of gain, and death loss.
Yep.
And if we can, that's one of the 4 pillars of economics. And when we start talking about improved case fatality rate, that just means improved caregiving.
Absolutely. And maybe even along those lines, in what we have seen is not just, the mortality drop, but what is largely driving that mortality is not necessarily the case fatality, but actually the animals that would have succumbed without therapy to begin with. And so when you talk about animal welfare and even judicious antibiotic use, finding those animals that would have succumbed without therapy is tremendous in looking through those optics as well.
Yeah, if you're using the same amount of antibiotics, you're just using it on the right ones.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right, folks, we're going to take a break, and we come back, we're going to jump on something that Dr. Nickell and I know quite well, and that's the inability for us to find labor out there in some of these agricultural operations and how SenseHub can help with that. You're watching DocTalk. We'll be right back.
We are a start-to-finish yard. Bring them in at 500 pounds and finish them out to 14 to 1,500 pounds. Max capacity is about 15,000. We begin with the end in mind, which that means it starts from day one coming off the truck. The most stressful part of the life cycle of a calf is the ride here, whether it's a 2-hour ride or it's a 24-hour ride. I mean, we kind of treat everything like the higher risk cattle. We always have somebody right there at the loadout, pinning cattle, getting counts on cattle. It's just consistently doing the little things right, whether it's clean water, fresh feed, clean pen, clean bunk apron. We try to do the little things right, whether it's from low stress cattle handling, animal welfare, how we work with the cattle every single day. That's something we really focus on. Our cowboys work directly with our veterinarians. And our guys, they do a great job. Give them a few days to kind of acclimate, settle down a little bit. That gives us a period what we know what we're working with and how we're going to handle them at the chute when we come to process them. We don't process till day 10, 14 or so, and we found better luck with that just because we know what we're working with. And it seems like if they're going to fall apart on you or start having some BRD issues, you'll find it within that 10 to 14 day period. And Mother Nature, as we know, it can throw a curveball at us anytime, so you never want to get comfortable. And we're using a stimulator now for a vaccine, and they don't go through a harsh sweat or anything. Blends, mixes really nice. Cattle look great afterwards, and every day is a challenge. But it's nice knowing that we can rely on a good vaccine, kind of protect us against what Mother Nature or any stressors that they throw at us. This industry, it takes everybody, whether it's working with the nutritionist, it's cowboys working with the veterinarians. Everybody plays a part, and we expect them to do their jobs, but also we expect, you know, the drugs or what we put into the cattle to do their job too. And I think these Bimeda products, they're proving that they're doing the job for us.
ValleyVet.com is your one-stop shop for your every animal need, from prescription meds, vaccines, equipment, and more for the ranch to the show ring. Shop ValleyVet.com for fast shipping and great prices.
Valley Vet Supply.
Hey folks, welcome back to DocTalk. Dr. Dan Thomson here with Dr. Jason Nickell, and we're talking about SenseHub, which Dr. Nickell is the Director of Insights and Outcomes for Merck Animal Health. Tremendous veterinarian, years in practice, and somebody that understands what we go through on a day-to-day basis out in the industry. And one of the things we're having issues with is labor.
Yeah, tremendous issue. And Dan, as you well know, I mean, almost to a person on any given day, you know, the ability to find sick cattle a lot of times is superseded by just having enough people there on hand to get stuff done, just the day-to-day stuff, right? And so, you know, it's not uncommon for a lot of production systems to go through, you know, 80, 90, 100% turnover on labor in certain circles on an annual basis. And so what that does is that causes us to have to continue to retrain and retrain and retrain. And when you're looking for people with a certain subset of abilities, that labor pool continues to get smaller and smaller. And so that is also, you know, one of the attributes of this technology is to not only improve detection accuracy and timeliness and then the subsequent outcome from there, but also to address some of the burdens on the labor side.
So when you've done the research, and I've seen some of the data where you know, number of pens, that if you don't have SenseHub, you got to go in every pen and look around. But if you do, there's quite a reduction in the number of pens people got to go in, right?
Yeah. What our data right now, you know, shows a very significant reduction in the number of pens on any given day that you'd have to go into. That doesn't mean that you'd completely turn a blind eye to those animals. I would never say that, right? Because there are other things that just the animal husbandry piece of the pen
water
management,
tanks,
water, whatnot, that has to be addressed. But in terms of actually going there and relying on a human to find sick cattle, has been at least, you know, alleviated up to a point. What our data would say is that the number of pens to go in and look for sick cattle has been reduced roughly by 70% over the course of the feeding period. And so what that does ultimately, at least in theory, is that takes that relatively small labor pool of people that are experienced in finding sick cattle, and it expands it to, you know, hiring people to just go get the animals with the blinking lights, right? And then, but you can use them much more efficiently during that additional time that's saved to do other stuff, right?
Big time.
So, you know, it is, you know, one of the things that pieces of feedback that we heard early on was the concern about people losing jobs. And I think we need to be very sensitive to that this is not there to take jobs away. This is there just as a tool for their toolbox, help them, you know, keep folks on staff longer. And like you said, you know, even though we have a baby monitor, it doesn't mean we don't need a mother. So we still need people. We still need people day in and day out.
Well, thanks for being on the show today. You did a tremendous job. Thanks for the technology. You know, folks, these are game changers, and this is one of those products that we're putting into some of the yards that I go to, and we're very, very excited about and very bullish on it. Thanks for watching Doc Talk today. If you want to know more about what we do, you can find us on the web at www.doctalktv.com. Always work with your local veterinarian, and with Dr. Jason Nickell, I'm Dr. Dan Thomson. We'll see you down the road.
DocTalk is brought to you by Merck Animal Health. By integrating the comprehensive animal health product portfolio of Merck Animal Health with the innovative technologies of All-Flex Livestock Intelligence, we are shaping the future of animal health, resulting in more effective solutions and healthier animals.
Valley Vet Supply sees the hard work and effort of you and your animals to achieve your goal of being a champion. And we're here to help along the way. To the cowboys and cowgirls, to the dreamers, we see you.
At Merck Animal Health, we wake up each day seeking new innovations to keep your herd healthy. This is why we're proud to now include All-Flex Livestock Intelligence in our portfolio of solutions. With All-Flex, we can provide the tools to identify, monitor, and trace each animal within a herd. Its state-of-the-art offerings deliver real-time insights to help you optimize productivity. Merck Animal Health and All-Flex Livestock Intelligence. For our animals, our industry, and our future.